What's up, Clay? What are you doing in my cousin's
It's not
XB?
Clay, okay?
What is it?
1NZ.
Okay, what's up, 1NZ?
You want to know what happened on the replacement engine because that thing failed, okay?
Yeah, so unfortunately, my cousin drove his XB with no coolant. The radiator actually failed. It started to rip apart on the top, and there wasn't any coolant when I drained the fluids. So obviously, he probably warped the head. But I just ordered everything new for the cooling system: radiator, water pump, thermostat, hoses, everything new. So now I'm in the process of buying a new engine. Leave that shit alone, dude.
1, 2, 3.
He swears. But I didn't want to make a video of this, guys. Weather caught us at a pretty bad day today. It was actually raining on and off.
If you're
And
laying body fluid.
yeah, so you guys are probably going to see that video some other day. But this is going to be a video for another day as well. Watch out! Bruh.
Going back to being a 2ZZ.
He's going back to be a 2ZZ. So yeah, differences on pulling one of these out compared to 1ZZ, 2ZZ.
Airbox tighter to the engine right here wasn't too bad to remove. Engine harness was way easier, but it's kind of odd because it goes from the backside like a matrix, but it also connects over here. But what we did is just disconnected everything from the motor. That's the ones on top of the transmission. Just pushed to the back of the engine bay and lifted it out like that. You have to remove the crank pulley.
Yeah, you have to remove the crank pulley. There's just no space between the engine and the frame right here.
Yeah, so probably easier just have all the...
Yeah, it's easier probably to just have all the accessories removed. No alternator, no motor mount and stuff like that, but...
And I don't know why they did the stupid design, the little... You can remove the valve cover to get the fuel line off. It wasn't bad. Power steering pump. Weird. And but everything else was basically the same, like the AC compressor.
Compressor just hangs out there. We haven't held on by a bungee cord right here, but the condenser kind of gets in the way pretty easily. I don't know, man. This condenser looks pretty shot. I think I'm gonna compare the prices with one online and probably just do his condenser while I'm
60 to 80 bucks, but
might as well just do it.
Yeah, but it's basically the same on the top as like a 1ZZ, 2ZZ. It's just push this back.
Yeah.
With the accessories, but that's pretty much all that's different. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to do. Oh, it's kind of swollen there too. Swelled up.
Okay, sell the car. Come get it.
Yeah.
Motor. Forgot how to reinstall.
No, he needs this car. I'm not gonna buy him another car either. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, I didn't want to record because again, on and off rain today, and I wasn't really in the mood. But this isn't really our content. Our content's 1ZZ, 2ZZ stuff. So sorry guys, but I'm not in the mood.
Two-spoke.
Two-spoke? Oh yeah, Toyota Echo.
Yeah, the Toyota Echo. What is it, Yaris?
Yaris, there we go.
Yeah,
Yaris.
Yaris hatch, but sorry about that.
And so I'm in the works right now of getting a 2013 Yaris 1NZ off LKQ. So maybe when that comes around, I'll probably record again. Hopefully it's a much sunnier day. Really stupid that it was raining today.
I know these ones are a bit weird. It's just like the Prius ones, the FXE models of the motors. Those ones blow head gasket. Same thing with the 2AZ FXEs, but just service them. These are chain driven, aren't they? Yeah, they're chain driven.
Yeah, it's all good. It's whatever.
It's the same stuff.
All right. Well, that's about it. I'm not going to record much. Let's get back to work maybe for like another half hour and probably call it a day. What is up, everyone? This is Tuzlo, aka Seabass, and today we're working on this 1NZ-FE. So I didn't really make a video on my cousin's Scion XB, but he ended up blowing a head gasket on the engine, or warping the head. His radiator, I guess it started to leak, and he wasn't paying attention to it. So I guess one day he was on the freeway, and out of nowhere he just lost all power to the vehicle. And my dad went to go save him, and he noticed that there wasn't any coolant in the radiator. So brought it home, and it sounded exactly the same way when my dad ran his matrix with no coolant when his radiator got busted from the accident. So anyways, surprisingly, the 1NZ-FE is not cheap. You can get like the Scion XA, XB, and like the Toyota Echo 1NZs for cheap. Like let's say '03 to like, I don't know, '06. Like that first generation, you could get those for like $500 any day of the week. But to my knowledge, or did a bit of investigative research online, and check this out. Apparently the Yaris, the hatchback Yaris, or I guess the sedan one as well, they ran the 1NZ all the way to 2016 or 17. I'm not sure which year it is. That's ridiculous. How is it that they're stretching this little engine that far? So what did I do? I bought one from a 2016 Toyota Yaris with 36,000 miles, guys. And I got it for about $900 shipped to my door from LKQ Canada. You can see right there, LKQ. So, just gonna go over it a little bit. You can kind of see it's really, really clean compared to all the other ones. So I paid $957 for this 1NZ, and let's see if I don't show any of my personal information, but let's see. Oh, right there. So I bought it off a Yaris hatchback, Yaris 2016 with 37,000 miles. That is ridiculously low, guys. So what we're gonna do now is basically remove all the Yaris components. We're gonna switch out all these sensors. If the plugs are different, I'm gonna switch out the sensor, but if the plug is the same, I'm just gonna leave it. I don't want to use this intake manifold. I'm gonna reuse all his original stuff just in case it is slightly different. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove everything off this block and put it down to bare. So everything Yaris related is already off. The 1NZ, it's over here, and it's pretty bare right now. You can see no exhaust manifold, no brackets. Got all the sensors removed from the Yaris stuff. I'm gonna leave those. If the plugs are the same, then I'll leave them there. But if not, then I'm gonna need to figure out what I'm gonna do. But we're gonna go ahead and install a new thermostat and a new water pump. You guys are probably asking yourself, well, Seabass, if this only had 37,000 miles, why are you switching it out? So this comes from a salt belt state or country where they use a lot of salt, and you can see right here that the salt is already starting to eat away the gasket. So what's going to happen once it starts creeping through, it's going to leak. So I don't want to take that risk. Water pump and a thermostat, ridiculously cheap on Rock Auto. Gonna go ahead and install those real quick. This is a water pump by Azen. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that's the part number right there. You can see right there, 1NZ. So says from 99 to 08. But we're gonna be using it. Doesn't even say XB. But regardless, it's for an XB. And here's the thermostat, same brand. That's the part number. And I didn't know if the thermostat was gonna come with the O-ring, but I don't think it does. So if it doesn't, here's the part number for the O-ring. Let's go ahead and install those real quick. So it is already getting pretty dark, so I'm gonna try and just finish off by transferring over the intake manifold. But two gaskets I'm gonna be installing. This is gonna be the intake manifold gasket. So that's the part number. Looks like, oh yeah, I did cut myself as well. So this is an updated one. It looks like the old one was a black one just like the 1ZZ, the old one is a black one, but the updated revised one is an orange one. So just in case you guys were getting lean codes, there you go. You should probably upgrade to the orange one if you have a 1ZZ, but looks like the more recent one is the blue one. So the manifold that the Yaris engine had, I can't reuse because the throttle body only had, or the throttle body for the Yaris engine intake manifold was 4 screw holes, while the XB one is 3. So I can't use the throttle body, so I have to use the intake manifold. But the gasket that I pulled off of this one was a blue one, so just kind of shows you that this is the updated one. So then we're gonna go ahead and install a new throttle body gasket. So there it is. I'm just gonna clean up this pretty well. It's just me cleaning it up and just swapping it over. Nothing really special to it, guys. So then another gasket I ended up replacing was the exhaust manifold gasket donut. That's the part number for it. It's this one right here. This one didn't look all that bad, but I don't know how old it is. And since I already have the engine out, I said might as well replace it. So I ended up replacing it. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put the 1NZ back in. I didn't end up replacing the rear main seal because, again, this engine only has 37,000 miles. When I originally bought the rear main seal, I thought I was gonna get an engine with like 100K plus, so I was gonna end up replacing it. But this flex plate looks about the same as the other one. Like I looked at it really close, it looks about the same. So we're gonna put it in and we're gonna bolt up the starter real quick, and we're gonna make sure that the starter properly engages the flex plate to crank the engine. So when the torque converter is already bolted up, just to make sure that the flex plate's not any different, but I don't think it will be. Pretty sure it's the same. So yeah, this is typically a 2-person job. You want to have two eyes looking at stuff, making sure nothing's in the way, no wiring harness, making sure everything bolts up. But I'm by myself today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it up. So engine's already in. It's not hard, but it's just really tedious by yourself because you kind of have to look over here, and whatnot. So anyways, oops, my finger's all exposed there. Well, anyways, I had to remove the intake manifold because I just wasn't able to look enough right here, and that's what I was trying to look at. I was trying to make sure that the dowel pin was going in. The dowel pin was going in through here, and then I was going to feed the 14 millimeter bolt right through. And so the thing with not having the leveler for the cherry picker, you know, the one that they sell Harbor Freight, the one that levels the engine this way, back and forth, is you kind of have to finesse with the cherry picker a bit. So the engine was like this, and it sits like this. So it's kind of hard to position the transmission in the engine towards the transmission, you know, because you have to let it fall so that you're able to. What I was doing was I was grabbing it from the oil filter, pulling it forward to angle it back like this. And I was able to feed both 14 millimeter bolts. And once you got those two in, all the other ones should go right in because of the 2 dowel pins that the block has mating itself to the transmission. So a couple of things I did to put the engine in, you should probably do as well, was I removed the airbag sensor right here. This was getting in the way, unless you just don't put your alternator in. But you know, it's like really like kind of compact in there, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna put it in now. I don't want to mess with it later. But you could take this off so that you can leave the alternator onto the engine block. And the most annoying part out of this whole thing, bungee cord it or take it off entirely. The power steering pump, guys, like this thing is just in the way. So I had to like move that out of the way, all these hoses out of the way, and get this over the exhaust manifold, which is sitting pretty good now. Let's see. Yep, sitting pretty good. So now all I gotta do is put the 2 springs back in there with the bolts. And another thing I did was put the AC compressor back on. You have 4 12 millimeter bolts. These will not come out because there's no space for them to come out. This one's just gonna hit this line, and this one just sits right here. So you're gonna need to use like like an open end wrench like those. Anyways, I'm gonna start putting the starter on, connecting all the wires. It's pretty self-explanatory. They don't really connect into any other one because all the plugs are unique other than the coil packs and the fuel injectors, but those are kind of positioned at a point where you can't really mix those up because of the length of the wires. But anyways, I'm gonna finish. Oh, and another thing, so once you're right here, mated to the engine and transmission, I highly suggest you install, you have to reinstall your crank pulley. You have to reinstall your crank pulley and turn the crank a couple of times clockwise, just to make sure that your torque converter is properly in, because if it's somewhat out, it's gonna press on against the flex plate and it's not gonna be able to turn the crank freely. Right now it's turning the crank 100% freely, so next to that we're going to be installing the torque converter bolts. Hopefully I have them here somewhere. Oh yeah, here they are. The torque converter bolts, they're the special shaped ones. And funny thing, I didn't know this until like a couple of years ago. Put this one in first. You see how this one has that at the very bottom right here? It's because this centers them all. Look at these. These don't have it, so make sure you put this one in first before any of the other ones. Pro tip. Okay. So I already got a lot of stuff. Damn, listen to me. But anyways, I already got a lot of the stuff hooked up. I already got the intake manifold back on. It's just a couple of 12mm bolts, 2 nuts, and 3 bolts. And that should go back on. And I already got the starter bolted up. You got 1 bolt right there. And another one down there. And we're going to route this harness on top of the transmission. And you have this bolt right here that holds it on. The bracket. And then we're going to connect our knock sensor. This is our knock sensor, this is our oil pressure. So those are connected. I ended up reusing the new harness. It plugs right into the Scion XB one. And then we have our 12 volt for our starter and the signal for it right there. So that harness is already done. I believe this is stuff for the throttle body and T-throttle position sensor and the idle air control valve. So we're gonna go ahead and install those, and then next thing I'm gonna do is install the fuel rail, because I can't really do much because the fuel rail for some weird reason goes through here. So you're gonna take off your valve cover gasket, and right now is the perfect time to switch out that gasket. So a couple things I've already done, kind of taking my time on this because it's not really messing up, but I put something on before I should have. So basically I still had the wiring harness towards the back of the engine, and I had already put my fuel rail on first and didn't realize that this harness was trapped back here, and I don't have the tool to remove the fuel line. So I had to remove the valve cover, I had to remove the fuel rail, because the fuel rail is stuck behind this. I don't know why Toyota did this. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably end up buying the tool for this, because it would have avoided me having to remove the valve cover again, So anyways, we already got the main wiring harness towards the front installed. That goes to our fuel injectors right here. Some sort of ground right here, our coil packs, those are installed. As I said, you can't really put them incorrectly because they're kind of angled and the length of the wires are to that where it goes. And then we have the 2 10mm nuts that go right here. So then I also install the pressure sensor right here, or the location sensor for the cam. Let's see, what else have I done? Crap, have I really not done much? Oh, and then we're gonna go ahead and install our brake booster assist right here. So that goes there. Looks like I'm gonna need, that goes right here. Looks like it. That goes right there. So then we're gonna go ahead and install our grounds Our grounds go right there. These are your grounds. They're gonna go right there. And then we have our coolant temp sensor, and I don't know what other sensor that is. And this is all for your math and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and hook those up real quick. Coolant temp, and go from there. Looks like this one goes over here. Yeah, right here. That goes right there. And then we're gonna go ahead and install our alternator right there. Plug that in. Plug that in. There's supposed to be a bracket around here somewhere. Oh, right here. Bracket goes, that goes right there. And then that's gonna be all for your AC compressor and probably your crank position sensor. So we're gonna be installing the torque converter bolts. You can see I already got one right there. So now I have to rotate the crank. And with that, I'm gonna use my 1/2 inch right here. We're gonna put our 19. And then what we're gonna look for, as I'm turning it clockwise, I'm gonna wait for the next hole to show up. You can see peekaboo, it's right there. So now we're gonna switch over to the half, or to the 12 millimeter. It's advised that you put Loctite on these, but I should be fine. I don't have any Loctite on me right now, but if I do see that this engine works, I'll do it on another date. But basically, you're gonna start turning and you're gonna see that the crank is gonna wanna turn with it. So once you get right here, you can still turn it and it will lock. And if you don't have a torque wrench, by your best knowledge, turn it. That seems pretty tight. Looks like we might have one more left. So I'm gonna do that off camera. All right, as I said, I wired up everything right here. I wired up the AC plug right there, and you can kind of get an idea on where everything gets routed. There's a clip right there. There was a clip right there, but I guess it's broken. And then plugs in right there. And then if we come down here, you can see how it gets routed. And there's a clip right there, and boom, crank position sensor plug. So then that's done. And then over here, we already plugged in our heater core lines. We have the in and the out, I believe. I already got those clamps done. Plugged in the coolant temp sensor, and then I guess this is probably like an oil pressure as well. I'm not sure, but there's another plug right here. So those are the two plugs. And then I'm about to torque down the grounds right here. And I think that's about it. Then we got to put our air box in, and I still got to put the power steering pump back on and these bolts for the exhaust. I'm gonna go do that right now. So I didn't realize I forgot to put the water pump pulley back on. So I didn't have enough space because it's pretty much right next to the frame rail. So what I ended up doing was I just unbolted the motor mount, and I got a jack, and I dropped the engine a bit, and I was able to access the bolt holes through right here. So just a pro tip, I guess, probably do that before you put the engine back into the vehicle. Make it a little bit easier, but if you follow my way, just make sure to do it before you bolt on the motor mount, because it's easier that way. So now we're gonna go ahead and put the 3 bolts for the motor mount. 1, 2, 3, and then we have 2 bolts right here, and then underneath this post we have a nut. And then in order to install our power steering pump, we have this 12 millimeter bolt that goes on top. Probably not gonna be able to focus. And to install the power steering pump, we have to install that 12 millimeter bolt between the bracket of the pump. And then we have this bracket right here. We put a bolt right there. and another one through there, and we have to use like a crowbar or pry bar to put tension on the pump towards the outside of the engine and tighten the bolt. So it's kind of tricky to do one person. Maybe ask someone for help for this one, because you want to put in a good enough tension on the belt so it doesn't squeal. So now I'm pretty much done up right here on top. I ended up putting this one bracket right here on top of the valve cover, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my stock airbox and my battery and crank it, or I put oil. So I kind of just went at it because it's getting kind of late already. It's already 2 o'clock, and I need to finish this up by the end of the day. I still got to put the whole front end back together, but anyways, I ended up buying a new radiator. This is the part number to it, and I'm gonna put all the part numbers in the description down below of the stuff I used in this video. But anyways, we got our intake back, got the hose to the breather, and right now I have the coil packs removed, disconnected, because I'm going to crank the engine. I already put oil in it. I put distilled water in here. I got new radiator hoses, the lower and the upper. I reused the clamps. I have this new hose right here. In the future, I am going to buy a new one of these, because I guess the one I got on eBay, so literally the set that I got off eBay does not work at all. Where's the other one? Here it is. Like, it said Scion XB, Scion XA, Yaris, and it doesn't work. It doesn't. I tried, but it's completely different. This is the Yaris one, and you can see it would have fit the Yaris, but I don't have a Yaris. I have a Scion XB. So, battery's connected. Heater hoses are connected. Everything's already connected. Throttle body's connected. I already got my radiator support back on, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start the car. See what happens. And there you have it. Purrs like a kitty. Oh jeez, I'm so tired. Got no check engine lights. Everything seems to be in order. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, this car. Glad it's fixed. Oh, let's see if we rev it up a bit. Yeah, sounds pretty good. All right, now the boring part, clean up. So I'm gonna let this run for a bit. I'm gonna let that bleed out for a bit, and I'm just gonna clean up everything as much as I can and start putting the bumper back together, because still have to put it all back together.